G'day virtual pilots, it's Requiem. Today we're going to look at the U-2VS. In yellow you've got the throttle on the top, and underneath in yellow is your fuel valve. In the black it's carburetor heat, and the grey that's the mixture. Up top we've got the cockpit light brightness, fuel gauge, the cockpit light, the RSI radio, generator and power switch, landing light, navigation lights, pitot heat, and the magnetos. On the main panel, got your altimeter, magnetic compass, turn and bank indicator, airspeed indicator, artificial horizon, and the vertical speed indicator. Over on the right, you got the tachometer, fuel primer, oil temp with split oil and fuel pressure gauges, cockpit lighting switch, the air meter, and another cockpit light. Underneath, got the battery master switch, and on the floor is the propeller crank. Now if we press Ctrl C, we'll go to the rear position. And we've got the gun turret equipped for this. So we can see those are the controls if you wanted to use it. You also have some replicated instruments up front. You can see those there. And on the right, that's the RSI 4 radio when you have that mod selected. We also have some duplicated controls so you can fly from the back. If you equip bombs, those handles will be on the right in red. So then we can press Ctrl C and go back to the front. Then we can set the mixture to rich, press E, and the automated engine sequence will start. So now the engine's started and you're ready for taxi. You can lean the mixture out a little bit if you like. Then increase the power and start rolling. But bear in mind that this airplane does not have brakes, so you want to taxi at a slow speed. This way, when you do reduce the power, you come to a stop relatively quickly. And increase the power again. Get ourselves rolling and start taxiing. Take off in the U-2VS, we've set our mixture to rich, and we increase the throttle, and then we'll rotate at 80 km per hour. So now we're lined up on the runway, we can start applying full power, and we get rolling. You can see that airspeed needle start moving, bring the stick forward, so get the tail skid off the ground. You want to hold this attitude, and then by about 80 km per hour the airplane is going to start lifting off by itself. So we just lift it off. So we just maintain this attitude and continue to climb and get some altitude underneath us. And then when you want, you can begin accelerating to around 95 km per hour if you want to climb at your best climb rate. Now bear in mind, this airplane is very slow in terms of airspeed and its climb rate. So it's going to take you a while to get to where you want to go. And then if you add in all the different modifications that you can use for it, it's going to increase the weight of the airplane a fair bit. So be careful what modifications you choose to add, because if you use all of them, it's going to increase your maximum weight above what you can safely take off with. So just choose the modifications that you want to use depending on the role that you're planning on doing for the flight. Once we've flown upwind for long enough, I'm going to make a left turn, joining a crosswind. And then we'll look at the back position and flying from there. I'm going to try and continue the climb, get up to maybe about 1,000 feet or so for this pattern. Like I said, it's going to take a little while. So from here, I'm going to press Ctrl C, and it's going to take me to the rear position. This is what a flight instructor would often occupy. And because we have the dual flight controls, you can pretend that you're flying from the back seat using that roll. But you can only do this if you're the only player on board. If you're flying in multiplayer and someone is sitting in the back seat, then that person won't be able to fly the airplane. They'll just be an observer who can give feedback on your own flying. So this way you can use it similar to what a flight instructor would do, in that they can give you instruction from the back seat, which will be helpful for new pilots. So now we're on downwind. We'll have a look at landing the U-2VS. On downwind, just ensure your mixture is rich. Your throttle is going to be between 14 to 1500 RPM. This will help you slow down to about 100 kilometers per hour. Then by the end of downwind, we're going to pull the throttle back to idle and do a power off approach to landing. And with a base to final turn, we're going to maintain an airspeed of about 100 kilometers per hour. Now if you're a new pilot learning how to fly using this airplane, you might find it easier to do a square, base and final turn. This way to make it a bit easier for you to make a stable approach. And once you get more confident, then you can try this curved approach. Alright, so now we're beginning to approach the end of downwind. So once we get there, we're just going to bring the throttle back to idle. Get our airspeed to about 100 kilometers per hour. And then we'll start a gradual base to final turn. So because this is a power off approach, my airspeed is going to be determined by how I'm pitching the nose. If I needed to go faster, I would lower the nose. Now if I needed to go slower, I would raise the nose. So as we're coming around the turn, you'll notice that there's very small adjustments. This is going to be done to either lengthen or shorten the flight path towards the runway. This is because based on our descent rate at 0 power, we've got a fixed amount of time until we touch down. And the idea is that we want to touch down in the beginning part of the runway. So as we're coming around, we always want to be evaluating where our aiming point currently is versus where we want it to be. And this will tell us what kind of adjustments we need to make to either lengthen or shorten the flight path to get there. So as we continue the turn around the final, the closer you get to the runway, the easier it's going to be for you to judge where your aiming point is. From here, you can see it looks like it's going to be around the beginning of the runway, so this approach is going to work out. So finish off the last part of the turn and straighten out. Flying towards the runway, maintaining our airspeed. Now we can be in the round out process. Slow the airplane down, start bringing it up to the 3-point attitude, and we can touch down. Now remember, we don't have any brakes, so you can hold full back pressure on the stick to keep that tail down. This way you can also get some steering from that steerable tail skid, and you can use bursts of throttle if you need to prevent any kind of a ground loop. Then once you get to taxi speed, you can get off the runway. That completes your tutorial for the Polikarpov U-2VS. If you liked it, let me know with a like and a comment. Don't forget to be a subscriber using that bell icon. This way you can get notified of new videos as they're released.